Welcome to Bamhek TV. I have a phenomenal topic today, and it comes from a bunch of questions that we've been getting in our podcast, the I Bend the Obi podcast. If you haven't checked that out yet, we just finished our first recording, and that could be found on my channel or the Alchemist 369 channel. But we're going to be talking about manifestations, 5 easy steps to manifesting. And it's a pretty simple topic, but not easy to do at first, right? Because the thing with I'm going to give you 5 topics that we're going to be talking about, and then I get right into it. But number one, that you are the architect of your reality. That's number one. Now, number two, power of intention and belief. Number three is embodying that creator within. Number four would be practical manifestation techniques, right? And number five will be living in alignment with your true self. All those are huge. And we're going to start with number one. You are the architect of your reality. That's a pretty tricky subject because most people that are looking into manifestations is because they are not currently happy with what they have manifested. Quick story, right? And this is just the way my life goes. I have been abundant for a long time, but that doesn't always necessarily means that my bank account shows it, because manifesting is 100% attached to our belief systems, right? So when you realize that what's in front of you right now, it's a creation of the way you thought yesterday, you want to start thinking differently today so that your tomorrow manifestation is one that you are enjoying better. There's another side to that coin. Though you may not be enjoying your current manifestations, doesn't mean that those are not what you need now, right? The route for us to grow and learn would be wealth. Then all of us would be financially wealthy, right? That's not always the best vehicle for our growth. So you got to take into account that the parts of the process that you might not enjoy too much, such as poverty, mindset of poverty, and that shows in the bank account and in your relationships and in your job and your current state of being, doesn't necessarily mean that that manifestation is not what you need at the time. And I say that because I have experienced a lot of poverty in my life. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and we were poor. To the standards of Puerto Rico, we were poor. We lived in public housing, not always having the most nutritious and fulfilling meals, and not having new clothes, and everything was a hand-me-down, old rusty cars. That's to the standards of Puerto Rico, because we were never poor to the standards of the world. If you're watching this on a phone, you're not as poor as you think you are, right? But I grew up in poverty, and not only physical poverty, but a mindset of poverty. It's always pinching pennies, my parents, and we couldn't get what we wanted, and sometimes we couldn't get what we needed. And then I grew up with that same mentality, and I was always very entrepreneurial, but always found myself without the finances to show any abundance. So my bank account didn't at times show that level of abundance. Actually, hardly ever showed that level of abundance. So what started happening was that I started confusing abundance just with the material financial aspects of things. Because you're the architect of your reality, you need to recognize, and I'm talking what I did. I'm speaking of what I did to be able to manifest better things in my life, right? Everybody's got a different way, but these are 5 easy steps. Number one is recognize that everything that's in front of you right now, you created it, right? Using that same ability that you used to create, because we are creators. We're going to talk about that in a little bit in section 3 about embodying the creator within, right? When you and all 5 points, they're going to intermingle, How about taking ownership for your bank account? And that's another one of the topics. Number 4 is going to be practical manifestation techniques. And one of them is practicing gratefulness for what you currently have. Because if you can't have a heart of satisfaction, what you will continue to manifest is a heart of lack, right? So we're going to talk about practical techniques to manifest. But number 1, recognizing that what's in front of you is a product of your creations yesterday, the way that you thought about your situation, the way that you spoke about your situation, the actions that I took, right? Because I wasn't responsible financially. I was bringing money in, but I wasn't responsible with it. You can be bringing all the money in that you want to, but if you're not responsible with it, that's not an abundance mentality. Because abundance means there's a never-ending supply of things. I can share a little more because there's more coming. So it's not only holding it all in and invest in this, and there's different things. And this is not about money management. This video is not about money management, but it's about the mindset of abundance. When you realize that there is plenty in this beautiful earth for everybody to have their piece of the pie, you start seeing things different. And that's what I did. I had to sit there and take an inventory of who I was, and realizing that every decision that I had put me in that level of poverty. I was poor in relationships. One marriage, divorce, another pretty long-term relationship, broke up with that woman. In my current relationship, we broke up a bunch of times until I realized that abundance and manifesting is not only financial, it's about peace of mind. It's about richness in relationships. It's about richness in health. So I started manifesting healing for myself. I started manifesting a way better business, ideas, being a recipient to download information, to have experiences outside of the physical realm. Those are great manifestations. Manifested a phenomenal relationship with the same person that I thought wasn't the person for me. Now I love her dearly. It's not just sit there and think your way through it. No, you're going to receive ideas. You're going to start receiving information on how to access that abundance. They just talk about the techniques, but in order for you to master a new technique, no change happens without education. So the first thing you need to do is educate yourself on how your brain is. If you right now are looking at this video because you're not happy with what you have manifested, the first thing I did, and I still do it, is do an inventory and look at where is your life showing the poverty, not to stay on that, but just so that you realize that your own thinking patterns is what have gotten you there, right? I did that, and I keep doing that, and I do it as often as, I want to say, once a week, all the time. I'm always trying to see who I am at the moment to make those decisions that are going to continue to show me the fruits of my creations, which is the actual manifestation. A lot of these thoughts or belief goes unchecked. Your body start following your beliefs without you second guessing and questioning what you're thinking. Your manifestations are based on your emotions. You get used to a certain emotion and you continue to pump that emotion out. And the thing with manifestation, but we get addicted to a certain way of feeling. I believe that universe is created by your consciousness. If your consciousness is always feeling bad, that's what you keep getting. So as we start going through the practical techniques, we're going to have to learn how to reprogram our thinking. And that's not an easy thing to do. I promise you it's not. But it's not impossible. Once you start working at it, miracles happen. The way that you used to see something, once you address it with the truth, now you can see the truth and you can address it differently. Books that really helped me. This series on Joe Dispenza. See, make sure you can see this really good. All these 3 books in no particular order. I just finished reading Breaking Through the Habit of Being Yourself. This will be the next one. This one, Becoming Supernatural. I'm not promoting Joe. He don't pay me. I'm just letting you know that those books have been amazing for my in manifesting. Joe does whole manifestation meditations, but In order for you to get to that point where as you think about it, it shows up, it's some practice. But I promise you, that's the way my life is going right now. Am I perfect? No, not by any stretch. Am I aware of the way that I think? That's number one. If you want better manifestations, you have to see yourself truthfully. I am negative. You can say that to yourself. I have been thinking thoughts of poverty, because that's what it is. When you start thinking something, there's something called dimensional space, your own dimensional space, which is your thoughts. You create. As soon as you think about anything, you create it. Practice the out of body state. And I'm part of groups of people, hundreds of people that we exit, our soul exits our body, and you get to see your thoughts right there clearly. The stronger you think, the more those thoughts continue to be a true manifestation, a true creation. But on earth, everything takes time for you to get to see those dimensional spaces. I'm telling you that I've seen them, but you can see the actual fruits of your thinking in your own life. Sit there, and number one is recognize where you're at. Really be truthful to yourself in all the areas that you find that you need to manifest better things. Think about how you think about that subject. It could be your relationship. How do you see your relationship? The other day, me and my girlfriend had a disagreement, and she was upset, and I wasn't that upset, but I didn't want to talk about it. And I realized that it was an old pattern of thinking. I was getting the manifestation of that old pattern of thinking by the way that I was acting. I don't want to talk about it. Going back to not being able to communicate. As soon as I picked up on that, I said, look, I'm sorry. I'm feeling some type of way because you are doing this and that, and I'm doing this and that. Instantly, she grabbed me, embraced me, and say, I'm sorry. We both had a hard time saying sorry. But because we have manifested peace in our relationship, those things happen instantly. We don't have to spend 2-3 days angry with fuck out of here, blah, 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 in the argument. We don't do that no more because we have manifested peace into our relationship, into our family. Nothing but money, cars, nothing can trump a happy, peaceful home. And that's what we have. I had to check my thinking. Why am I feeling like this? Why this manifestation is happening in my life? And I realized it, and I'm like, oh shit, I thought about my emotion, what I'm thinking, and I replace it with an I'm sorry, which is a different way of thinking than no, you're wrong, I'm right. And no, it was, I'm sorry. I wasn't in the wrong, but I wanted peace in my relationship, and that was that. So when you got to recognize, and what happened is the more you realize, and Joe talks a lot about that in this book, it's about recognition. Once you recognize, it's about awareness. The more aware that you are about the way that you are thinking, the faster these processes happen, right? That recognition is the most important part of manifestation because everything happens in the now. If right now you're thinking thoughts of abundance about your current situation, though it may not be the manifestation that you feel you should be having, that's abundance. Just being aware of the old thinking pattern, that right there is a whole new manifestation in the now that you will see in the near future. Miracles do happen. We'll talk about some of those in a little bit. At the end of the video, we're going to talk about a bunch of proof that I have through my whole life, including this channel. This is something that my channel is very young, and I wanted it. I didn't even think it was going to be this successful, but it's part of it, and we'll talk about that. And I'm not better than you. The reason I'm doing this video is because everything that I'm talking about is personal experience. I know that if I've come this far, and I still got so much more to go, but if I can have the peace of mind, the abundance that I feel in my life, in my heart, in my relationships, in my business, in my new endeavors, just in my whole life, you can too. Power of intention and belief. Understanding how setting clear intentions and truly believing you can shape your experiences. But we can go to the awareness part. How can you truly believe that you can feel a certain way when this is the way you always thought? This is the way you always felt. The way we do that is by acknowledging where we're at. Then you can start setting those clear intentions for what you want things to be moving forward. Because the only thing you can do with the past is learn. If you had a fucked up bank account for a long time, learn what can you do different. We're not just here just to think, to speak things into existence. Those are techniques that we're going to discuss. But how about the action behind it? If you have a messed up way of thinking towards something and you act in that way, how can you set clear intentions, right? So a great clear intention could be, I believe that I can think differently. Practice that, right? We're going to get to the techniques in a little bit. But once you start recognizing your current state, what I did for myself was I began being okay with it. I began to fall in love with the messed up individual that had created all these manifestations. I'm talking about imprisonment. I went to jail for almost 6 years. Divorce, bankruptcy, a bank account in negative 400,000. Talking about that's not so anymore. My bank account is not negative 400,000, right? My bank account is in the positive right now. Not 400,000, but it's in the positive. And I don't even look at it. I don't care about that right now. So I'm doing the steps that I need to do towards my finances, but I'm not on top of it all the time because I know that I am abundant regardless of what this system showed me. I'm working on a new business right now that my first week selling, I had 90% closing rate. And that was an idea that came when I embodied the creator within, which is number 3. Step 3 is embody who you are as a creative being. Say, I create. And you can see it. Your own life is the testament of your creations. So look at your life and realize that every decision that you've made brought you to where you're at. Embodying the creator within, inside you is a being that looks at all of life and decide what's going to happen. And that you can look at your life and really, if you take ownership, you can trace every decision. What happened to you is not what's important. It's the way that you react to what happened to you. Some people take the shittiest situations and turn them into their abundance. I was molested as a child, sexually abused, right? I was bullied and jumped. The kids in my neighborhood, their sport was to all of them jump on me. That's why I can fight really good, because I used to defend myself from the time I was a little kid against multiple guys at the same time. I was marginalized at church because we were poor and we wasn't living by faith. So we were like, they didn't treat us the same. Got shut down by the girls when I was younger because I had gotten sexually abused when I was very young. So I used to think that all the girls wanted to do was creep. I wasn't no creep, but I'm kissing them and I wanted more, and they weren't ready for that. So they like, get out of here, and I got out of there. And not only that, but I was very in your face and stuff as a child. And I got a lot of rejection growing up before I was a teenager, a late teenager, right? And I had my own poverty inside, right? So a lot of poverty that I suffered. So I'm the biggest testament to manifestations, because I had manifested really a lot of poverty in my life. And now I'm manifesting a lot of abundance in my life. I can speak about this. I wanted to make a video on manifestation a long time ago, but I'm like, I'm going to wait to have $1 million in the bank and all this dumb shit. No, I am more than abundant, and I can speak about it because it shows in my friendships. It shows in our ability to make financial decisions. It shows, and it doesn't matter in what part of the world you're in. You can take a bad situation, and when you embody that creator within and you realize, no, I'm going to think differently and I'm going to create differently, and you'll see it. If you're constant enough when you're thinking, right? If you can set your mind in gratitude, and let's jump to the practical techniques, right? We're going to talk about visualization. I do that. I literally close my eyes, and visualization doesn't have to be just images. You can put thoughts in your brain that bring joy to your heart, and a thought alone can take you from poverty to abundance. So you visualize what you want your life to be like. And instantly, once you do that, you're going to start feeling better. And then you ride that wave of that feeling. That's why visualization is so important. And then you have, right, affirmations. I had for over a year, I was doing the 369. You probably heard of that, but it works if you're consistent at it. I had my 369. I don't do it anymore religiously, reading it and writing it, but I already have it in my heart. So the first thing I say in the morning is, I'm young, I'm strong, I'm limber, I'm healthy, I am love, I am light. Ideas come to me easily. I have the energy to work down, and you go down the lines. So what I did is I did an inventory of who I am, which is the first thing you're going to do whenever you're doing the recognition of your creations. You do that list, and then you speak the affirmations. I do them, I am, in the present, regardless of, I was poor back then, but I was still saying I am wealthy. Ideas run through me. They flow through me, right? I'm telling you, I have a phenomenal idea that I'm working right now, that I'm developing, and that if I put all my attention to it, it's a multi-million-dollar national business, service business, right? That came after the affirmations, right? So your affirmations, you can look it up on YouTube. If you need a sample of my affirmations, leave a comment and I'll send you my own copy of my affirmations. You can copy them or you can restructure them to however you want. But if you put a comment, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, let's spread this message of hope and creation, right? Because that's the next step for humanity, to create at will. You are creating at will, but create what brings us together, which is an abundant mentality. And then, so visualization is awesome, affirmations, and then gratitude. One of the biggest practices is tricking your brain into thinking that it's already here, right? So the only way you could do that is by saying thank you, like it already happened. The Bible talks about it. See the things that are not as though they were, right? That's what faith is. We're certain of what we don't see and we're convinced of it, right? So that's faith. And faith is a big part of this topic. I'm using the Bible, but that's a phenomenal way to look at it. Be grateful for what you have not seen yet, and you'll trick your whole brain to start feeling different, because the brain is the computer that makes all this happen. The soul do not function on earth separate from the brain. While you are in your body, you need to use this brain. This brain, Joe talks about it. The way he did these books, and I still haven't finished. I just started becoming supernatural, and I had these books for years now. But the way he starts is like he's a lot more technical and talk about how the brain works on this one. This one talks more about how your belief, how you need to be aware, and how your brain is used to thinking and feeling in a certain way through your beliefs. I am starting this one, but you can start with breaking the habit of being yourself. It's just a phenomenal guy to listen to. Check out his videos. They do great things with healing. I gotta clean that up later. So visualize what your life could be like and be grateful for that life. Say it with your words. Whenever I go in my bathroom, I don't do my affirmations as much anymore. Now I command a lot of things into existence. When I'm in my shower, I'm connecting. When I speak out these words, I feel chills all over my body, because I am moving ether to manifest what I want in my life. Spoke about that briefly, but I'm grateful for the bad things too. The things that quote unquote bad, ask anybody in my life. What people think is bad, I'm grateful for that too, because in my life, that's the most important part of my life. The friction, the times where things don't go my way, because I'm learning to be resilient. I'm learning to be strong. I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning to manage that energy. If things are not going great in your life, be grateful for that, because you are acquiring skill sets that are way more useful than a couple dollars, than a business. I take knowledge and understanding before $1 million right now. I don't need anyone to give me $1 million, because I am acquiring knowledge, wisdom, understanding on my own life. And the only way you can do that, in my experience, is when things are not going your way, because now you have to dig in deeply and find that resolve and that resilient spirit. Your soul doesn't need an experience like this to create wealth. On the other side, there is no limitations in your creation. You came here to experience that which you are not, which is poverty. You are super abundant. So you came here to temporarily experience that poverty until you realize that you came here to also overcome that. Number 5 is living in alignment with your true self, right? Be authentic. The biggest abundance that you can experience is being at peace with who you truly are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beauty. Because when you embrace what you have in front of you, whatever it is that you have created, you give that to the world in a different way. You give that to the world as an authentic person, and you come off as truthful, and people see it all over you. So that authenticity is the biggest abundance that you can find. Accepting yourself for who you are, accepting your situation for what it is, accepting others for who they are. Imagine if you could do that, right? Imagine if you could accept others for who they are. How is that going to bring abundance to your relationships? Imagine how much more abundance would you have in your relationships if you were in true alignment with your own self, like allowing you to be so. There are so many gifts, so many ideas that you have, but because, and I'm talking about myself, because I thought that I had to do it like other people that I follow do it, I stopped myself so much, even from starting this channel. You know, I'm tired of being on the sidelines. I got tired of being broke in spirit. And I started changing the way that I thought, the way that I spoke, the way that I visualized. Instead of focusing on what I had in front of me, I decided to lie and say, I am wealthy. Ideas flow through me. I manage money correctly. I am love. I am light. I am connected with all that is. I am one with all that is. And I kept saying those things. I am young, strong, limber, and healthy. And I have experienced spontaneous healings in my life and the life of others. I've been able to help people on this channel, which is the most satisfaction. That is my biggest abundance. That by using my own experience, my own story, I had people that are alive today because they decided to listen to something that I said. Nothing to me. I can die today. And I did my work. But there's more to do. So align your with who you truly are inside. And that comes from step 1, going back up to the top. Recognize that every experience in your life is your own doing. Reflect on your inner beliefs. What is it that I think that's keeping me like, and not, don't stay there. It's just so that you can make better affirmations, right? Because what happened with the affirmations is that words are going to create a feeling, and that feeling is going to replace the old patterns of thinking. And I'm giving you a synopsis of a lot that I found in this book. Please go check this book out. We have to see the information over and over so that we internalize it. So read it. Be patient with it. This is a phenomenal book to help you lose your mind and create a new one. Because if your mind have given you what you have today, and you're watching this because you want better, different things, and you want these tips, that's number 1. Sit there. Recognize that all of your creations, you created them. All of them. Even the ones that I am grateful for that you right now may not be so grateful for. But if you switch that and you say, well, thank you, God. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, myself, for putting myself in this situation, right? I'm grateful for I find myself today. Once you do your inventory, say thank you. And now start changing your intentions and your beliefs, right? Start thinking, believing, speaking differently about yourself. When you embody that Creator, you say, I am that which creates. Look at your life. You don't believe me? Every decision that you have taken have brought you to where you're at. That's it. Embody that. Then do those techniques. Visualize. There's a bunch of videos on visualizing on YouTube. I can do one on visualizing. I got another book here, super old, from the 90s. Old one, but good one, right? Creative visualization. I got that one. I'll probably do a video on that one, and I'll probably do a video on every one of the techniques, affirmations, gratitude. But very simple techniques that you do them every day. You just have to replace the subject. Instead of looking at what's in front of you, close your eyes, and if your car breaks down, a bunch of old crappy cars, and a better car, and it's sitting right there. I didn't buy it. I put the down payment down. Someone else got it, and I get to enjoy it, and that's nothing. And I also have a little old truck that I drive in my daily driver, right? I have another truck that is my work truck, and it's back there, and it doesn't have a transmission. I got to get it fixed. That's happening soon. But everything that I want, it's coming to me. Everything that I have created, I see clearly. So visualize it. Close your eyes. I used to do that. I promise you. I'm driving a hoopty, a messed up car, and I used to close my eyes and see the whole board like touchscreen. It's right out there. Everything got, the car's got two screens, touchscreen, and everything is digital. I used to see that in my old car. I used to close my eyes and smile, say thank you, sweaty. Now this one, it's got AC even in the seat, and heat in the seat both. Sweating my butt off, and that it was cool in there, right? I done that. I wanted something of significance. I wanted a relationship that could love and practice romance and passion, and I have that. I wanted a close relationship with my kids, all 5 of them. You start finding that abundance in your life, right? The more the material aspects of it, they affect you anymore. And what happens when they stop affecting you as much, you start creating, then they start showing up in your life. The ideas to do it, the energy, the discipline, the ability to organize. I was talking to a friend yesterday, one of the ladies one of the girls on one of the groups that out of body. And then she said, I can't believe y'all do so much. Andre, my co-host, and I been the Obi, school full-time, work full-time, and running the channel full-time. He have 5 kids to add to that. I'm not in school full-time, but I'm running a business, starting another business. My 5 children in different ways. Running the channel, doing interviews, and name it, and have fun with life while all of it's happening. So if somebody can talk about manifestations, it's me. And I sometimes manifest the hard times in life too. When I realize that I'm holding on to that bone of, I don't want, I realize that it's my own doing. I take ownership. I changed what I visualize about that in my mind, right? Then I speak about it, right? Say it. And then I'm grateful about it. I'm not better than you. If you know my story, you'll see that anyone can do it. So those are the 5 tips that I have for you. The easy steps to manifesting. Remember that you are the architect of your reality. You design it however you want it. You power of intention and belief. Have set clear intentions. I want to think differently. I want to feel differently. And when the opportunity to do so comes, don't do the same. Think about, oh shit, this is the way I always acted. I'm not acting like that no more, right? Reacting, responding. Reacting is what you always done. Responding is taking a second, 3 deep breaths. This is the trigger that got me in a certain way of thinking. It brought poverty to me. Stop. 3 seconds, 3 deep breaths. Now I'm going to respond to this situation. I'm not going to react. And that's how you make the decisions. That's how you are going to move on to the next stage, by decision making. It's not a miracle. Everybody manifest this, manifest that is coming in. Yeah, miracles. So you have to do the work. When you embody that creator that you are, you realize what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're doing, or what you're not doing. And then you put more action towards what you want. When you embody that creator within, and then do those things. Visualize things. Take time. Take 15 minutes every day and with the possibilities in your mind. Do the 3-6, right? 3 times in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, and 9 at night. Write it and say it out loud. That will reprogram your brain to think differently. and be your true self. That's number 5. Be in alignment with who you truly are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beauty. It doesn't matter who likes it and who doesn't like it. Once you learn to embody that creator within and make decisions that affect everybody around you, because all of the decisions affect the people around you. So how am I going to make that decision moving forward, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beauty, right? Accept that person. Make better choices for that person. Get behind that person. You don't have to live by what others say, what others thinks about you. No. You live by your own self, the way that you feel. It doesn't matter how it is. If it's not productive, it'll change because you're going to be aware, right? So if you have any questions, any comments, please leave them here. Share this video if it was good for you. But, a blueprint, and it have proof for it. I have proof with my own life. I'm not at 1 million subscribers yet in the physical, but I'm visualizing it. I'm speaking it, and we're going to help a lot of people. So help share this, subscribe, and envision Bamhek speaking to Joe Rogan, because he got the biggest podcast. I say that I'll be talking to Joe Rogan because he's got a huge platform, and all the huge podcasters and influencers that get a good message out there. So envision it with me, with Theo Vaughn. That's a funny one, and a lot of viewers, and just I say it, I envision it, I sing it. No one told you that they love you. I love you, and Bamhek is out.